Hey there, Joy of the World friends and family. This is Joy with Joy of the World to take an intuitive peek into the energies going on around you. What energies is that? Well, these are all timeless reads, but if you show up calendarically, this is for the month of June. I'd been wanting to do a Gemini read, but I remember during the Taurus, there was this like interlocking energy. I have to say what they say, whatever. But this interlocking energy that was overlapping and moving and looping through the Gemini to Cancer time. So they've really had me move forward into doing a monthly read as opposed to the season read because we do function calendarically. So this has to do with June because everybody else is focusing on the full beginning and end middle. They're going to have us talk about the connecting points here. So we're going to do transitions and we'll see where this goes. So the transition for June, let me look at my notes, was talking about number one, the power is yours. Also, you need to know, do not be deceived. The energy is crowning here. This crowning in your mind, this knowledge, this gaining of insight, intuition, instinct, intelligence, inspiration, innocence returning. That's important right there. And that in and of itself is a miracle and a gift of life coming in with this Hierophant energy. I can see it coming up and bringing you into a 10 of Cups. We'll get to that, okay? But it says it's tipping in your favor. Life is tipping in your favor. So they're wanting you to know the power is in your hands. Is coming in this Lenormand from Tam LeBlanc, her deck that she created, about the rider. You're the one in control of your power. Wherever the head goes, the body will follow. So now that we're separating from the earth and energy and plasma is really getting its traction, we need to quit thinking that we've got to work hard for it or learn from old lessons, or we keep playing with the dial, our eye of God, our chart, our wheel, almost like it is a locker combination, left and then right and then left. And they're like, stop doing that. Stop doing that because that leads to you wrecking yourself. This Knight of Swords is coming in and it says you are willing to fix it, but why make the mess and then fix it? Because that comes down to purpose and needing to feel important, that type of thing. But that's kind of what was suggested towards us energetically, metaphysically, and all that woo-woo type stuff. And I'm not against it, y'all. I just not for it. So what it is that's not how I work. The woo-woo is what I like to go for, the things that are practical, pragmatic, that show up in our life. I don't want to be hungry and dream of some yummy food. I want to taste it in my mouth. So if that's you, you might consider clicking that subscribe button down below because that's what we focus on here at Joy to the World, the channel. Hop on this joy train, and that's a vote for you, yourself, your fulfillment, your satisfaction, your goldness self. It isn't having to work with other people's energies, manipulating, moving, responding, reacting, changing, altering, whatever. No, it just comes in as the truth of yourself. Your self-control, and that doesn't mean dominating yourself. That means staying in the center of yourself, knowing who you are and what your happiness is, okay? Happiness is the fiber of our being. It is this state of pleasant peacefulness and not just calm, peace, quiet. Let me not do this, let me do that. No, it has an air of playfulness, which is how the wheel moves. Through work and play, the wheel moves. Through action and reflection, the wheel enhances and moves forward. So Big Papa, Big Daddy is coming in here with the big to-do, all right? Coming in along with carrying in Jupiterian energy as well, because they're talking about letting time and space handle this communication, these ideas, and it's like what is forthcoming and incoming, okay? So it's how we change our life and change our future and impact it in the now today. That's what it is to be self-controlled or self-centered, in the center of the self, in the center of your chart. It puts you right here, and that's the little spinner that turns the dial. They want you to quit fugging with it, okay? Now, what else were they saying to me? They're saying hold on, not hold out. Okay, or you'll do yourself in. That can be the teaser, the temptation to still think that these situations are controlling you, people are controlling you. They're trying to say you control you. The greatest lesson I know about life is a kind of a double-edged sword. It's a coming and going. It's knowing when to stand up for yourself but also, baby, knowing when to stand up to yourself. And I can tell you, I've had to do a lot more of that, because it was clearing away those old concepts and those old ideas that had lodged in my mind and in my head of how life operated and how it worked. But you can see here, this support card, which is coming in from the May 23rd to 29th read of 2021. Irregardless of when you show up here, these reads are timeless. But if you want to do the connecting, you can look at those calendarically, okay, and refer back to that. But that's this whole new thing coming in. When you go on the circuitry with yourself, with divinity, with your destiny, which is up above, that created yourself, coming into the fullness of love, the full connection, it brings in this new energy, this new, can you say all those, they're crystals, this new fascination, a fascination with yourself. Can you imagine a fascination with yourself instead of a frustration with yourself? Do you hear the word over and over again? Yourself, you, your universe. That's what we're mastering here, okay? Because your whole chart is you. That's why we believe we are the whole zodiac here. I'm looking to bring you in like the facets of a diamond or a ruby or whatever stone you like, driving the light into the center, which enhances your quality, your clarity, and also your worth. And when you know your worth, you stay in it, and you don't have to demand of anybody else, but you don't subject yourself to things that don't value you. Okay, people, places, things, whatever. All right, you're not going to diminish, you're going to enhance. When you know that you should go on to bed, you go on to bed. When you know that that one piece of cake was plenty for you and you feel satisfied, that you slow down and enjoy, then you're not chasing after something beyond yourself. You're being in yourself. Okay, hopefully this is starting to resonate, makes sense. Life is tipping in your favor. The power is in your hands. Let's go forth in this. Now, I love it because centrally, we have the Knight of Swords, the High Priestess, and the Hierophant coming in. So this is where we're at. And also we're going to jump back to June of last year. And here's where we are. Here's where we actually are. Here's where we're reflecting, and here's where we're moving forward. So hopefully that makes sense. All right. So this has a lot to do with, it's referring, they're talking about Lilith. So you can look at where Lilith is in your chart. Also the House of Taurus. Okay, because remember, we're the whole zodiac. Sagittarius, the moon, and for some people, it's going to be Libra. Right now, Venus is taking a dip out of bounds, which I love because my name is Bounds. It's when they get out of the magnetic pull of the sun. So it's in this midpoint from where we were last May to June or so, when Venus went retrograde and it brought back old lovers, old news. The teaser, the temptation to think, oh, I want this, but that's something that doesn't work out for me. Putting yourself in the midst of a struggle, a seesaw, anything like that, power struggle, whatever else. Maybe even turning on yourself, questioning yourself, doubt, reflection, that type of thing. So we have selenite coming in with that Knight of Swords. Selenite is something that cleans and clears without any attachment. It also works outside of time and space because it just connects the two like a bridge and a channel, or like a syringe to move something from this containment vessel to this containment and vessel. So we're moving out the past, moving it on, doing away with flipping our wheel backwards, because in order to go to the past, to reflect on the past, we had to go back. And they're saying, trust your gut, trust yourself, trust your instinct right now. Come into the truth of who you are right now, here today. And that's this High Priestess energy. And that's where those type of things are coming about from the Taurus, the Venus being out of bounds, that type of thing. It's a time for a new opportunity, and there's synergizing of it all. There's a message in you, friend. Something that you may not have been listening to or giving heed to or finding importance, relevance, or value in at this moment. But I love it because Rainbow Fluorite is coming in to support that. And at this channel, Rainbow Fluorite often sings the song of hi ho, not it's off to work. It's off to fun. We go have fun. But the reason it's talking about hi ho work is if you want to have fun, get the work done. Clear your mind. Those couple of things that hang and ling over you, kind of like if you make a list of things that you need to get done or check on or whatever else, we often go for the easy ones or the ones that seem the most fun to us, but we ought to hit the one that we're like, I don't know if I want to make that phone call. I don't know what they're going to say. They're like, hit that. You hit that power button, you like to do. You go from feeling weak and strung out, okay, weakness to strength. So that's why they're letting me know it was May or June of last year, because we're toggling on the nodes. Now, for all of us right now, the planet itself, the North Node, which is where we should go, where the direction that we're heading, and the energies and the things that we should be focusing on, is in Gemini. The South Node is in Sagittarius. And Gemini has to do with more local travel, composite travel, things that are immediately day to day. And then Sagittarius has to do with the bigger picture, okay? The journeying, that type of thing, big travel, that sort of stuff. So that's why you can see it's sort of been hindered. If we work with the energies and we flow in that and realize that when we're touching any part of it, we have the connection to the whole of it. We don't feel disenfranchised, separated, and the need to be permissive or punishing of ourselves, okay? So that's why the High Priestess is saying, clear the back of that mind. Clear that out. Clear out that shadow of doubt, that toggling, that teetering, that Piscean type energy. Remember, we're the whole zodiac, so I'm not talking down to anyone. I have Pisces. We all do, okay? So not playing oneself into a disempowerment. They're wanting you to come into the fun, the fullness of the fun. So get that thing done first thing, because your whole energy then seems to come insert into yourself and motivate you forward instead of driving you forward. Because they were talking about no longer cracking the whip on yourself, having that attitude of got to, have to, gonna. They're wanting to clear that out so that we unct ourselves forward of get to, want to, look at that, follow me, that sort of thing. It's very, remember that innocence. Innocence is the high heart. It is this part of our energy channel that connects our earthen heart to our truth, okay? And it is the power of change. It'll change what we think, what we speak, that type of thing. But often we try and change those words, and then we got a different internal perspective. So we just line ourselves and we're causing a convolution. So with that, we're moving forward into the Hierophant energy. And what did they talk about that? That's where they're talking about let space and time handle this. Let Big Papa handle this. This is something that over time, it will begin to put the puzzle together and have it all make sense. Now, Big Papa has 2 votes. This works for you coming and going. It does not require you doing without. So when they're saying hang on, it doesn't mean don't let go of things that don't serve you anymore, but they're just saying hang on just a minute. This is coming full circle. This is coming around where you'll soon see, know, feel, and understand. That's why they're asking you to get those kind of little buggy things out of the way so that you have the genuine fun. Because then, I see the belly opening up, the gateway. Okay, so diaphragmatically, the thing that permits you to flow with life. Life is breath, y'all. Okay, and it's a wet breath. That's how we speak. That's why it's plasma, because it's promises fulfilled at this channel. So we have the pink tourmaline coming on in to support and strengthen the Hierophant, the resolve to know what to do, know when to hold them, know when to fold them, that kind of thing going on. Okay, remember knowing when to stand up for yourself and to yourself. And a lot of this is that internal mindset, the internal dialogue, the way things were versus the way they be versus the way they could be. Okay. So it's kind of like trying to silence the noise with that. Oh, that makes perfect sense. 7 of Wands is coming in under the strength and weakness. Instead of teetering and tottering and rocking the boat, be where you are. Trust the value of where you're at. Value yourself and quit wearing yourself out. Coming against the difficulty, working against the odds. They're wonking. Who's wonky? You wonky? Feeling a little wonky? Feeling a little vertigo, a little dizzy? Like, I'm so confused. Okay, if you're confused, stand still. Stand still. Locate. Drop into yourself. Feel your feet. Feel your seat. Take a nice breath. All right? Because tourmaline is strengthening and clearing. It's clarifying. It's high heart energy. It's letting you know that you are loved. Because when you stand in your truth and you stand in the trust and the knowledge of yourself, magic begins to happen. It's more than the law of attraction, all that kind of stuff, because you can attract here, there, and everywhere, but you can attract things that aren't of you. And if they're not yours, they become a curse. They're not a blessing. The things that are a blessing are the things that work with us. We are our own solution. We don't actually have problems. We have experiments. We have enjoyment. We have examples. We have these things to work through to grow and develop in, okay? So Rainbow Fluorite is wanting to come into the background to support you under High Priestess. You're dividing up. Okay, so with this pink tourmaline coming in over this frustration, trying to no longer have to stir it up in order to feel your worth or value. Being able to intrinsically know who you are brings in this connection to yourself, the inside out congruency, the 2 of Pentacles. And that has to do with like the mirror ball in the mind's eye, the top of the reptilian brain, the center of the mind, the star that you are. So it's like allowing like a lighter, but not like a fiery flame. It is a diamond flame coming from the center of your earth, from the diamond mine. But now it's your diamond mind, staying in the balance and the connection to that. Because as you breathe, it's showing me that you're working these energy channels more than just Kundalini. It's something bigger than that. It's talking about like your somatic body and the if you've ever seen Back to the Future, it's like a flux capacitor that powers and channels and moves your energy body, not just yourself. The whole containment of your amness. I like that. With that, we've jumping on to death. Make peace with this. Come into the cycles of life, the full spectrum. The full spectrum. That way you're not doing that power struggle or fighting with or against or for or about and playing in the shadows and the layers of the mind. Let the layers be lifted. Let it be a full expression. Let yourself be trusting that high heart. Again, pink tourmaline energy, which is moving all the way across this here because it's bringing you into eternity, sphericalness beyond 4D, which it is. It's heaven on earth, but it goes beyond that because that is the gateway to the full radiance of life, the multiverse. Beyond that, because that seems to be angular. It's spherical. It's breath. It's life. It's eternal. Okay. Give yourself permission to do that and to see life as a celebration. That allows the fullness of your fire flower to come all the way up and to illuminate your unconscious mind. So you're no longer playing out generational curses, shadows, projections, rejections, whatever else has been put on by you, anyone else, any experience, whatever. It keeps you illumined from within. It gives you the passion that when you wake up in the morning, like you hop from the bed, kind of like what was it, is it the Christmas story? I don't know. And he leapt from the bed and threw up the sash and looked for Santa Claus. Whatever that is, it's that excitement towards life and meeting it in the moment and not just setting clocks and fitting formulas and creating goals and things like that. No, it is that ignition from it. Oh, okay, baby. Ignite, strike it up. I love it because right here above that death where you come into this fullness of life, the Three of Pentacles is here. And it's the leveling up and it's the connecting to oneself and it's the combustion going on, and not like one that burns, but the thing that awakens, like the pilot light that heats the hot water heater, okay? It's like turning on the stove. It's turning that dial in your favor. That's interesting because it started under the High Priestess, but it has made its way under the Knight of Swords. And that gets you moving. Gets you moving in your mind. It gets you to see, to wipe off this blot, this stain of effort and all the hard work. And remember the blood, sweat, and tears, the red magic of what things require of you, an earning factor, a deserving factor of how you could be loved or worthy of such, trying to improve your worth. Your worth is full, whole, and contained. When we are our whole selves in the center of ourselves, whole brain, that thing, we realize that all we really need to master is when to stand up for ourselves and when to stand up to ourselves. Okay, then we come into that center of our wheel. And then nothing seems removed from us. We don't seem too much, too little, that anything's holding out on us or anything to resist, restrain, or to struggle with. It removes all power struggle. Now, selenite is beginning to ease over the wheel of fortune. Something in your spirit and your energy is beginning to settle along with this. And it's coming into this Big Dipper effect, which is here right now. So it's filling up. It's filling up of what is going to return to you in harvest season. There are two seasons, seed time and harvest, all right? So we want to taste and see. Remember what I said, not woo-woo, like when is this ever going to work out? No, the woo-woo, the coming into the harvest, the earth and harvest. This is the tree of life, the chambers of your heart coming into the fullness of you. You are the ninth ray of delight. So let's see what we got here, because death has taken us into this new power, the Eight of Diamonds, which is like Eight of Pentacles. It's the balance of the power. See, the light and the dark, the masculine and the feminine. I don't mean in one person. I mean like a plug, okay? The connector, the plug. The plug is in the socket. Turn your light on. And what light is that? Delight. I ain't being fun about the light. I'm talking about D-E-L-I-G-H-T. Allow yourself to be delighted. Because when we come into that with the wheel, and we come into realize it's not about controlling anyone else, any scenario, any situation, aiming for this money or that life or that. No, when you come into the center of yourself, all the flexing and vibration solidifies and you become real. You magically become real. Breath fills your body. You're nourished and nurtured by life. There is a self-assurance that occurs, like a command is what Big Papa's talking about. I see him over here lifting up the hand. He's lifting up the two fingers. No, like peace sign. No, he's lifting up the two fingers. What do you mean by that, Big Papa? Let's do this. Well, okay, well, under here, she's lifting up this card. So if you're lifting up the two fingers, Big Papa, where are you lifting up? Princess of Pentacles. Makes sense. Because when it begins to move like that, you realize your work and your play aren't separate. People often say, do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. I would say the key there is love. Love your life. Life your love. Life is unconditional. Life is pure and perfect. Okay, friend? I hope this is coming through to you with the magic that you need to power up your body here, and not just consciously in the fullness of yourself, that self-assurance, right? Okay? Interesting. So with this background here, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to, we have a reiteration of the High Priestess over here. They're not saying choose either or and. So, okay. The power of the mind, knowing when to stand for yourself and to yourself. Big Papa is saying always, He's actually like this, that it's the two. It's perfect. So in our spine, our backbone that holds us up, there's a front side and a back side, and the muscles connect differently, okay? And they work together. So it's that togetherness with oneself that offers the momentum and the life that we love. So it is the two working as one. There is no separation is what he's talking about here. Now that may sound mysterious, and it's not necessarily for you to figure out. Our soul understands this language. You may even listen to it again and just like meditate, meaning allow the information to move through you, and it connects and it falls into the places where it should. Just like the frosting, you spread it over the cake, but you can only see the top where you're spreading. The underside is moving into the grooves, the nooks and crannies, and making its way to make the connection, okay? So let's look at that. So with this, we are going to get, who started here? Five of Wands. Don't let it mess with your head. Five of Wands, there is no competition. There's still no one else. You are your competition. And you don't have to compete against yourself. Compliment yourself. And I don't mean just frilly words. That complimenting yourself is like when you know that one thing kind of frustrates you and you want to get it done because it bugs you. Just like you don't watch the mosquito suck your arm. You smack, take care of business. That's what he's talking about. And that's the Seven of Wands. Get rid of this old shit. Sorry, y'all. Clean out your garden. Because this is your mind. This is one of those meditation gardens. Some people do have a full-size one that they stand in, they move the rake, and they move it through their whole body. But other people have a desktop one with a little bitty rake, and there's sand and little trinkets and things around there to set up harmony and enhancement. They're wanting to harmonize your mind. And I love that we're talking about that here, because we are going to step in with who do we want to use. I see you over there, but I think we're going to stick with True Heart. We're going to get a card for each sign and kind of see some of what is going. Talking about 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Nope, I'm going to shuffle. So let's start with Gemini, because Gemini is at the beginning of June. Let's get a card for Gemini. About, you got a little handle. Well, then we're just going to go with this for a minute. So with Gemini going in the energy of this month, we have Queen of Wands, 9 of Cups, and 7 of Cups. Now, to remind you, up above the Hierophant, they're looking to move us into the full balance of life, the 10 of Cups that we have going on through here. Let me write down 23. That's when we're beginning Gemini. Thank you for your patience. I'm glad you are here. Now, remember the whole zodiac, you can tune into this and get the entire flow of the month. Not like taking notes, but even just receiving the information flowing through you, resonating with your spirit where your spirit knows how to move and guide you, okay? So anyways, the Queen of Wands. Okay, so Gemini for you is talking about a tremendous amount of efficiency. You don't have to move or operate like anyone else. You move in the fullness of yourself. And there's not about being too suchy much or too this or that. And it's not necessarily multitasking. It's having to do with the facets and the nuancing. It might even be breaking it down into streamlining energies, okay? That you might do 15 minutes of cleaning every day. And by the time you get through the week, you've done every area of your house. Or you might be someone that Monday is your cleaning day, Tuesday Tuesday is your laundry day. Wednesday is your errands day, that type of thing. But it's up to you. They're talking about a bit of streamlining. Brings in this Nine of Cups, this fabulousness with yourself. This is like permissiveness, and not permissiveness like promiscuity. And I don't mean with sex, y'all. I mean going into things that are kind of not for you. This is about getting into things that afford you. They afford you the openness to life, the receptivity of life, the balancing into that Sagittarianness, that kind of permissiveness of like following your spirit. Okay. And that's where we have the Seven of Cups. And you're like, well, what do I do about that? Well, I would tell you that here, instead of questioning or doubting or trying to find which one thing, remember, just whoop, oh baby, don't do that. Streamline your power. Let your power work for you, not against you, because this isn't about anybody else. Who's judging you up in your house? Are you judging yourself? Stop judging yourself, Gemini. Okay, that's your card. Stop judging yourself. Let it flow. Let the magic rise up and move forward. And it'll all make sense in the end. Just follow yourself. Follow your spirit. You can do it. You give yourself permission here. All right, so now we're flowing into Cancer. Let me write this down. At 25:39, we're going into Cancer. Let's get some cards for Cancer for the month of June. What's some information about this flow, this work and play? Okay. So what is stuck? Tower's here, and look, this is stuck. We're going to dislodge it in just a moment, but instead I've got it on pause is how I'm choosing to see it while we discuss this. This Tower in the true heart, okay? Clarity, reward, the truth coming forward. It's not bad anymore, Cancer, okay? Let's merge ourselves, not soft on the inside and hard on the outside. Let's trust that it is all one. It is all one. Our strength and our weakness are the same. It just depends on what we want to do with ourselves. But Big Papa talked about putting them together and letting it be a breath of fresh air. What is a breath? It's not an inhale, y'all. It is an inhale and an exhale. That is a complete breath. Thank you, Cancer, for talking about the completeness here. And they talk about complete yourself, build yourself, put yourself back together, raise the roof, straighten up your posture, and feel good, confident, and self-assured about who you are, Cancer. Quit judging yourself. Look in the mirror and say, I am fine like wine. I am divine. I am beautiful. I am trusting. I am loving. I am enjoying my life, okay? And that is the eye in the sky. So that eye, the red eye, is your destiny. That is how you created yourself, and that is where the magic and the power comes from. Begin to realize that you have creative power, but it begins with your eye. Trust yourself. Look at yourself and be honest with yourself without tossing or turning that node, remember, between Gemini and Sagittarius, because that puts yourself at a disadvantage. Calm down, stay still, and start where you are. And in the blink of an eye, these aren't just clouds, that's Neptune's energy, okay? So what needs to come forward will, and it will be supportive if you are supportive of yourself, loving of yourself. That doesn't mean lying to yourself, okay? It just means being calm about not charging it with emotion or static or emphasis like, well, you're gonna have to da-da-da, or, you know, I always this, that. No, okay? Cancer, just let it be. Let it be. Speaking words of wisdom, and that power, that magnificence, that magician builds you up. Spirit is coming in here. Neptune is coming in here. It's giving you all that energy to move forward. And some of you may check out where Neptune is in your chart. And also, if you are limited, because Cancer is like, this is me. Sometimes you might choose to listen to the part of the zodiac reading where Neptune is in your chart, okay? I love you, friend. So now we're going to take this off a pause and see what we got going on here for you. Oh, you got somebody underneath. Who's under the covers? We're going to find out. And you want to peek? Cancer, I know you. You do. So I love you. I love us. We're the whole zodiac, okay? But here, look at what we've got going on. The Ten of Cups, which is definitely here. Nothing's playing a trick on you. This person didn't run away from your offer of love, and you're not holding that love and being rejected. They have got work to do, man or woman. Okay, Cancer, this is you. That is the other person. They've got work to do. They will return. Stop with that. Stop with that. Who you are. Stop it. I love you. Be yourself. Self-assured. Rest. Trust. You can believe and not doubt. Okay. So that brings in this radiance here, and I love it because this Ten of Cups is very much showing up like a Ten of Swords, and not swords like having been done and done wrong, okay? That's the trick. The trick is to mistrust, but they're saying, no, trust yourself. And when you listen to the truth without leveraging, without switching or charging it with electric energy, and you just let it be, then you begin to realize the golden radiance, because then this comes into all the facets, okay? It goes from the sun, life itself, supporting you, sending forth the wand, the initiation, the momentum, the motivation, that type of thing to get things done. Then it's the swords, it's the clarity of the radiance, that it is all coming from you. You are the captain of your ship. It's not about anybody else. So quit moving yourself around, being the center of yourself. You fine like wine. And then it's the cups and the pentacles as well. That those cups aren't just there. The pentacleness is coming in. The goldness self, the goldness you, is that these cups are filled. They're fulfillment. You're fulfilled and satisfied. How is that? So see what's undercover, okay? Because this had to come with that card. It was stuck underneath it. So let's get this out of the ground, this doing yourself in, because that's the holding out. Like, I'll wait and I'll see. I know how this turns out, but then you begin to work against yourself. And this isn't like, this is kind of like curiosity kills the cat. This is that bit of conniving type energy, and not conniving against others, conniving against yourself. Letting your own beautiful energy be your undoing? No backlash here. Just when you feel that starting to try and come, feel it, especially many of you, it's from the hips to the kidney area, in that soft part of the back that kind of gets you a little bit nervous. When you feel it rise up, start to breathe, okay? And for some of you, you might, if you can't do that, or you feel just like clenched here, or your mind begins to get hyperactive, or your intuition really tries to go into hyperdrive, go for a walk, gentle swaying, movement, bouncing in place, dancing, turn something on, and allow that part of your body to begin to sway and to move freely. Let your sensuality rise up. Cancer, I love it. So, because we know you passionate. Put a fire on your fireplace, light a candle, bless yourself today. All right, so going on from Cancer, ooh, baby, we're stepping into Leo, jumping right on out. What you got to say here? Four of Swords. You're saying, I am up above it. Well, then what I would say is close that circle. Close that circle. So, Leo, there's been a little bit of wondering if you're enough. I'm just going to say it how you're saying it. If you're enough. That thing going down to the depression, that wondering for you actually has become wandering. And you're like, I ain't going nowhere. Look at me, I'm staying right here. I'm like, bullshit. Genie, you're going down into your bottle. If you hadn't seen it, look on Netflix or somewhere for I Dream of Genie. She lived in a bottle. So you're just going back in your bottle in your little bitty cave, in your little bitty hut. When you are the whole universe, you are the genie. Power of your permission. Fired up. Let me get into your magic friend. I don't know, y'all. Hang on a second. I got to kind of timestamp these things. 31-ish for Leo. Anything you want is in the power of your permission. And that doesn't mean run amok and get all up in your head like when somebody wins the lottery and I'm gonna this, I'm gonna that, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, or whatever. First thing you do is also consider your savings, your future. And that doesn't mean look out beyond yourself. That means what is within your touch, what is in your grasp. You have a lot of what you love around you already. Begin to celebrate that. Give thanks for it. And you can give thanks for it. Not thank you for this, thank you for that. How about you give thanks from the beginning? I am thankful. I hear guides say to me all the time, thank us. And I'm like, I thank us. And I'm like, okay, how do you, because we normally say thank you, don't we? Thank us. And then it sounds like a command. It was like, what do I do? And eventually one day they're like, it is this, Joy, I am thankful. Because that includes you. The two coming together, like Big Papa was talking about in the beginning, that they work complete and whole. So when you say, I am thankful, that does away with this. It seals up this at the bottom. And at that moment, you have two legs to stand on, the ground to stand on, to rise up and to move on from this. Because even these crows are no longer wanting to barrage your mind. They don't have any more messages. The message is, the sun is here. It's a brand new day. It's a brand new day. You could start with, I am thankful for this day. Okay, Leo? Well, you didn't seem to say anything else, so I'm going to trust you with that. Let's sit with that. Do you want to do anything else? The Emperor comes on in. That fires you up, baby. I absolutely love it. That initiative that comes on in, not impulse. I see Aries gift as initiative, and that is all seeing, all-knowing eye. And that's where that old gray matter, that confuggery was getting you trapped and going. Here's the power has always been in your hands, the power to connect to yourself. Nothing is controlling you. Some of you may have had controlling issues growing up. We could call it parents or whatever, but feeling like limited. Other people's, that you don't have other people's belief or faith in you. Look, baby. Faith in yourself. Look at all that strength on your shoulders. You're not just wearing a robe. I mean, you have the rams on your shoulders. That means you can mount up. You got some Capricorn energy going on in there as well. Go to the highest heights, because you don't need to go to these depths anymore. That's why you're not Capricorn, because Capricorn goes deepest depths, highest heights. He's bringing in Aries energy, the winner, the victory, the radiant sun. Leo, I love that, because you are the sun. You rule by the sun. Okay, so now we're going from Leo. Let me help myself. Virgo is 3511. Okay, so Virgo, let's get some cards for you on what we're talking about in this completeness that Big Papa has brought in for us. And I also see some need for some soothing and nurturing, some restoration for Virgo, because many of you have done a 20-year stint of giving and pouring out, and you're hungry, you're exhausted, and you're tired, and your cupboards are bare. Okay, those cupboards in your soul. Now I'm telling you, let's refill your temple. What we got here, baby? 6 of Cups. Look at that. This is high heart energy. This is delight. This is youthful innocence, exuberance. And like children don't wake up and go, I can't this, I can't that. They're like, well, I want to do this, I want to do that. I'm saying follow your spirit. You know, irregardless of your work schedule, there is a window in your life each week that you could set aside to follow your spirit. And instead of thinking that you're having to tell yourself no and put yourself down to weigh for the greater good of the world, Virgo, right? Okay. Instead, to keep it like a, where that thing out? I don't know. Y'all, I got a little notebook that's about this big. It's a little pocket notebook, a little spiral bound thing. And you just jot the note when your heart, soul sings this spiritual, the high heart child energy, the butterfly comes along. It's like, oh, I wanted this. Oh, I wanted that. If you don't have time at that moment or that day to follow, say, oh, yes, that sounds delightful. I hear you. And you just write it down that notebook. So say Tuesday would be your day. And you write, say it's going to be, I don't know, pretend Tuesday's June 2nd. And you write Tuesday, June 2nd. And these are the days leading up to that Tuesday. And you jot down the things that are on there. You may or may not be able to do any of them, but you've honored all of them by letting the excitement, that's what the butterfly is about here, the all that pass on through, be written and recorded, validated, okay? And that when that Tuesday, June 2nd, I'm not saying that's real, y'all, but whatever that day that is to come when it comes, if that's your day of the week, you look at it and you might see, not, I need to get all this done today, because see, that shifts it again back to work. You look at it and you just begin to let your soul move you like a finger then. It might start in the middle of the page and go, I want ice cream for breakfast. And you're like, oh, okay. What flavor do you want? Maybe it's a flavor you don't even have in your kitchen. Go to the store, go wherever, and just start there like a scavenger hunt of your day, which it's really a spiritual upliftment and inspiration of life. It is a pounding fountain of life. It's your heart going boom, boom in the room. You know, Virgo, I got to tell you, hearing that, the reason it gave me such pause is the idea of you being fulfilled, you having that fire, because you're an earth sign, right? Having that fire in your veins, that sensuality moving on through, that sense of self, that really, the self-reward, the self-love is quite attractive. And I don't mean like, you people want to jump in bed with you, everybody wants to be your best friend. No, I mean life begins to live in and through you in the dynamic relationship of the two of you. Okay, you're saying yours is the next card. Brings in this Queen of Cups, this cup of love. That means everywhere you set your foot, you are fulfilled. It begins to create a connection to yourself, like you living in your feet, owning the ground that you walk on, so that you're no longer driven about by the cries of babes and some adults, y'all. Because Virgo, you know, everything's like, Virgo, I'll do it. If you grew up in the era that I did, life cereal used to be, Mikey will like it, Mikey eats it. There's all these kids in this family that the stuff that was gross or adulty food that they didn't want, they passed on down to Mikey. And Mikey's the little baby in the family. He just kind of ate it up. And they're like, oh, Mikey likes it. Well, then all of a sudden they're like, he seems to be enjoying himself. I want it. Trying to pull the bowl back. Now, I'm telling you, that's the beauty of this pumping in your heart, pumping in your veins, is it's very attractive. It's very sensuous and sensual, comes into the somatic and limbic, and it begins to create a fragrance in the world around that beyond your words, you become a living truth. Beyond an example, a testimony. living this out in the beauty and the appreciation, just the satisfaction. Just imagine your belly going, isn't that nice? No, when we eat too much, it goes, oh. No, we're talking about that coming into that place, and also where you're not gnawing with hunger. And I'm not talking about food, y'all. Do you hear the quietness going on in this? I love that space. Well, Queen of Cups, that's why you standing up. You're like, I want to travel about and live. That freedom and that permission to not be pinned in by the neediness of others. Because I got to tell you, some of it's greediness. It's not necessarily need. They're like, Virgo, I'll do it. Virgo, I'll do it. There's things that nobody wants. Virgo, I'll do it. Oh, you can add that to it and we won't pay you more. Virgo, I'll do it. We can add to that and you can buy our dinner. Virgo, obligation. So we're moving past that. And let's see if there's one more card for Virgo. If you have anything else to say, you do. Okay. And that begins to rectify this situation, the Eight of Discs, because the Hermitage here is that shrouding, feeling undervalued and unimportant, that it had withered you away to where you were nothing but a shrivel, like a raisin. Okay, and raisins, they have their place, baby, but you need that wetness, that moisture, that Queen of Cups coming on in, that refreshment, that look at this. That is how vibrant, how abundant, how bountiful you are. And here, Big Papa's let me know it's in the arachnid layer. It's in the layer, the fascia, okay? The groundwater has been bound up in the fascia for a time. So we just go ahead and we loose that now to the fluid in the fascia to restore back out into the cellular matrix, to begin to relieve the pressure, to bring the balance. Because pressure is when it's more outside or inside. And there's that displacement, that disallotment is how you're saying it, but when it's balanced inside and out, it's supportive, it's playful, it's springy, it's effervescent. I absolutely love that, and I want that for you, Virgo. I'm excited about that. Something happening down here, y'all. Who's next? Let me write this down. Thank you for hanging in here. I hope you're riding the whole zodiac with me, because we're now about to step into Libra, which I think is coming off the bottom of the deck, which could make sense because Libra often can put themselves last, even in putting themselves first. They're following after this or that or whatever, a lot of times by a lure or a dangling carrot. And we don't need that anymore. Your scales tipping and cavorting all around. How about we just make you the essence of justice, the essence of beauty, the essence of life? And being that Venus is your ruling planet, it being out of bounds right now means being able to get out of the system, out of the relegation to being an object. You a soul. I know as I looked over at the cards over here, which card is that trying to come? I see you. Rose quartz and appetite. Stirring up a desire for true love and healing, like a familial love, like a best friend kind of love. And I mean more than a just best friend, a justice that brings in that healing of your home and how you grew up. Also having been that object, someone that you're able to chat with, and there's no game playing whatsoever. There's just, talk about truce. But I know you also talk about truth. It's that clarity, that clear as glass, clear as day, that type of thing. Okay, so let's clear. How do we clear? How are we clearing for Libra right here? Hang on. Okay, we're going to clear with some color. Y'all, let's clear with some color. Let's get in here. Let's clear with some color for Libra. Let's get this fresh new start. I see you. Plum. Overcome your challenges. So we're just going to command it, overcome. Okay, there might have been a little bit of a wrinkle, a little bit of a crinkle, but it's talked about in your eye. In your eye, in the center of your chart, of having bent and pulled yourself this way and that, people bent and pulled you this way and that. So we're just asking Big Papa to smooth that out right now as we step into this truce, okay? Truce. Making a truce. Being at peace with yourself, them being in themselves, you being in yourself, and that brings in this Three of Wands. This Three of Wands is like, really, you are your own competition. You've been competing with your own spirit. You've been fighting against your destiny. Your destiny is you. It's not anyone else pushing you, making you, deciding whatever. So there's no need to rebel or to be able to adjust or adapt. How about you synergize, you merge, you come into balance with yourself, because that thing that's feeling like it's pushing or pulling you around is actually you. You create yourself, and it's your full robe and your coloring. And the only thing that hasn't happened is you haven't let the light come in. Your moon has been on your mind. Look where your moon is, because if you didn't already, tune into the beginning where it's talking about this whole reading. Could be touching on the Taurian part of your chart, the Sagittarian part of your chart, the moon. Look where your moon is. Letting the light come in there, letting the sun, the illumination come on in, giving yourself permission to be a star, to be beautiful, and to be what you're saying is where you are. Here, now, today, okay? Not always having to shift states or to move into a different feeling, to feel the feeling that you're feeling right now. And they want that feeling, or you, actually, because this is you creating your reading here, the Ace of Wands, to feel powerful. Releasing the phoenix, releasing the death and resurrection, releasing the cost, the price paid, the debt, the generational curses, the whatever else, and that's firing this up, y'all. All the things that bled out from you to return to yourself, calling in the power of the 8. Okay. Oh, that's funny because 8 of Swords. That is this old sepia type energy. And we're talking about a homeopathic remedy. It has to do with what is in the cuttlefish or inside the squid, the ink. Okay. Releasing that ink. Some of you, it's releasing that story. Letting it go, letting it out of here, because you're tattooing yourself. You're marking yourself. You're scarlet lettering yourself. Not even just judging yourself, you're condemning yourself. Stop. I don't have the power to tell you to stop, but if your soul and yourself is resonating, stop. Love yourself. I'm in agreement. If you are here, you were here because you were voting for yourself. That is the truth. Make a truce with yourself. Stop condemning yourself. And if you stop condemning yourself, then you're able to hold on and start blessing yourself. Bless yourself. Quit doing lessons. Start doing blessings. You know, when it wants to pull you somewhere that you know you get a little tinge of regret, or in this case, a little bit of stimulation and excitement, ask yourself, does that really make me feel good the next day? And if the answer is no, then be like, okay, let me just breathe right now for a second. I'm going to shift my state because I'm already out of my natural state. So I'm going to stop and breathe, feel my feet, feel my seat, okay, and get in and get back into myself, get into my state, the state of me, okay? And then that brings in the Empress. Look at your abundance. Look at your beauty. Look at your magnificence. The whole world is yours. I love that, Libra. Okay, so from here, baby, you called out all sorts of crystal energy, and that brings in clarity and financial abundance as well, in case you need to know. But I got to make room to write here, Libra. So let's get in Scorpio and see what we got. So that's at 46, 47. Interesting. Are you stepping in time, Scorpio? Let's see what we have to do with Scorpio and being complete and coming into this completion of June, which is really moving out that old era, the era of earth, the blood, sweat, and tears, the hopes, dreams, and fears, and coming into the truth. Okay? Come into the magnificence of who you are, the complete. Are you wanting to truly talk or not? Some of you are talking about your wallet. So I'm not going to let that card talk. I'm going to let the image there talk. So let's talk about the wallet for Scorpio. How does this get, because the wallet's more than just money. It's about being valued. Valued in your relationships, valued inside yourself, valued in your home, valued in your connections, being valuable. Thank you. So with Scorpio, the Chariot, it's time. It's time. Look at that. Allow yourself. Move forward in this wave of plasma. Allow your mind, and not just the thinking, the mental mind. We're talking about the body mind. Allow those sensations, the sensuality of who you are to rise up and to lead and to drive you. And that doesn't mean sexuality, y'all. Sensuality is our senses, okay? Working in harmony with one another. But I'm going to get you, Scorpio, because it's you. I'm going to get you an eye, okay, from the angel Lyrium, because that sensuality, remember, don't let it all just sit here. This is a place where everything the whole body is experiencing comes in to be processed. So you need to understand your intelligence, your imagination, your inspiration, your intuition, your instinct, those sorts of things, your I amness. So with Scorpio, let's get a little support on this Chariot here. I feel you. It's coming in as a pair. So let's see who we got. Who came first? Who took the plunge first? Fan you out, the angel of truth. Exalt your truth. Exalt your truth. And this is very much coming in as a Scorpion type energy. I absolutely love it. Scorpion, arachnid, that type of thing going on. Depths of the earth, ancient energy coming into the pure blue ray. For some of you, that is the energy of Mary. It is also, okay. You phonetically funny, Scorpio. For some of you, it's entering into marriage. Commitment. beyond connection. That commitment is a facilitation of the connection to yourself. Now, might I tell you, let the connection drive the commitment. Don't hem yourself in by jumping into a commitment thinking it'll force the connection, okay? So that means stay in your sensuality, stay in your liquidous plasma flow, because baby, you are fire and water at my channel, and don't make it boil. Imagine it like when you see a swimming pool or a reflecting pool or the ocean and the sunbeams are going through and it's making all that beautiful matrix. It allows your mind to be active, verdant, and alive. And verdant means green. It means lively, your tree of life to be activated, okay? So for some of you, create a gazing pool. A gazing pool where the light moves over it and you allow yourself to look through it and allow it to move back up through and look into you, okay? And see yourself, and that comes in with Israfel, the angel of song, the symphony of who you are, celebrating yourself. And beyond that, it's like your rhythm, your flow, that type of thing. Because in that connection, you don't have to be, you're not tied. You're not tied. You got 2 feet. You can move around freely and explore all the things that you desire. You might even travel some by yourself if they don't travel with you. It's not always having to convince or move someone else that there could have been a codependency in your life, well, several, because it's that sensuality of who you are where people hook you and connect you, and then they're connected to your magnetism, and then you're like, how do I get that out of here? And then you're all magnetized, and then they might dump you or use you or whatever. Baby, you are you. And I love that permission for yourself. Let's see if there's anything else there is here for Scorpio. High Priestess and 10 of Swords. Doing away with people using your magic, okay? Utilize your magic. That's how we do away with it. It's not that we start cutting people and getting rid of people or whatever. You can clear, okay? And I'd rather you untie and remove those unauthorized connections, but, or that you might have authorized at the time, but you were in a different state of mind, but get into your clarity and realize that this is your magic. And when you own yourself and you utilize your magic, your sensuality for yourself, feel yourself, baby, feel into yourself, feel your magnificence, enjoy yourself. Enjoy your life. Put the heartbeat, your finger on your pulse, whatever it is, from feeling, putting fragrance on when you get dressed, man or woman, it doesn't matter. If you like to luxury in a tub or whatever, beginning to invest in who you are and letting that magic, it's like the ripening of a fruit, come into the fullness of yourself. I love that. Okay, Scorpio. So from here, we're going to step into, I hope that helps. We're going to step into Sagittarius at 5203. And let's get something about this. Okay, you already got something coming out, 2 of Swords. I love it. So Sagittarius, you're wanting to get into your Jupiterian power, and Jupiter, if you're showing up calendarically for this, irregardless, these are timeless, but calendarically, Jupiter right now is in Pisces. So wanting to get into wherever Jupiter is in your chart. So it's a bigger dynamic than just the 2. It is the 3, because it's not just these halves. It is your mind. It is the full trinity. That's where the creativity and the ability to move from goes. So you love to travel and to expand and to do that. So how about you go from the 1 to the 2 to the 3? Go to the 3. Mind, body, and soul. So wherever Pisces is, it's lifting the limitations on all of your possibilities. But that could be too much of thinking, wow, all the possibilities. Well, which one do I want most? How about you say, which one do I want now? Start there. Start there, and that begins to activate your Sagittariusness, because you can do a scavenger hunt, can't you? Can't you begin at point A and know that that'll lead you into the nuance of what you love, some of that mystery, some of that exploration, some of that power of potential, and it takes you into a next thing, and you might bump into somebody at the record store and you're like, oh, hey, how you been? Whatever. You make a new friend, and then you think, I'm going to go out for a drive by the ocean. You're out the ocean. You see a cool bird. You stop. You look at the bird. There's a great feather down there that you take home and you put on your altar. And when you look at your altar, you realize there's a little fortune sitting there that you had forgotten all about. And you're like, and you read it and you flash back and remember when you got it. Can you see that loop going on here? So that's what the 2 of Swords is about here. Not an either or an or, a yes and. Yes, and yes now, yes me, yes today, begin here, and then there we go. Where we go. Oh, power's in your hands. 2 of Wands, wherever you choose. The whole world is yours to explore. Look at all the stars. all the dreams and the desires begin to be stirred up into your amnios, which is that we still live in an amniotic sac around us, and that's our thoughts and our feelings and that immediate thing. And so if you're no longer trapped by how you grew up or conditions, or maybe some of you had Saturn retrograde or generational curses, if that has been shed off, then this amnios, this sac, is going around, and it begins to directly connect with the environment around you, and your inside out congruency in life is going to begin to send you surprises, spontaneity, little pleasures and treasures. Okay, Sagittarius, I love that for you. Pleasures and treasures. So now we're going to step into Capricorn at 5436. Let's see what we got for fell into my lap. All right, what's we got, Capricorn? Victory. All the songs are singing. All the songs are singing. All of heaven and nature sing. Joy's coming your way, friend. And not just me, your joy, my joy, the whole world's joy. Look at that golden stuff. You're getting a hand up. You're getting a helping hand. And it's going to carry you through. It's carrying through your trinkets and your treasures and all the little things of your heart and bringing you back to peace, and more than just peace, the invigoration of life, the everlasting life. Going away from the everlasting death, because some of you, Capricorn, being born ancient, the oldest of all the signs, the beginning and the end. You've been living in everlasting death and everlasting hell. You adjust and adapt. If it's the hardest or the least desired, everybody's like, oh, let's give it to Capricorn. And always having to travel alone. She's like, you want to come? They're like, yeah. And then they're pooping out and panting out and complaining partway through. So you learn to just travel alone, travel alone, travel alone. But that's not how you were designed, friend. And that's popping your head. Look at that crown going, pop, what? I combine and commune with spirit all the time. I'm fine. I'm fine. And they're like, no, you're not. Six of Swords, move on from that. We have a bigger plan for you. You're not having to dip and dodge and run this obstacle course and this race and this whatever else, having all these things thrown at you and put in the way to halt you and stall you. The expanse and capacity of who you are, more than just highest heights and deepest depths. That's kind of why they're wanting to level it out this way, is not to remove that, but for you to begin to see the level of your capacity so that you apply it properly in your life. Because when you utilize yourself, give yourself the advantage of who you are and your chart. Remember, we are dealing with the Wheel of Fortune here. You begin to have a great success in life, and not just monetary success, not just these accolades and other things on the wall. We're talking about satisfaction, fulfillment. We're talking about your whole self sparkling and divining. Absolutely love that for you, Capricorn. I want to get you another card here. I see you. Okay, so Maxfield Parrish is sitting here, and the one is coming off the top. So let's see what you're wanting to say about that. The Queen of Clubs. I'd encourage you to imagine. Begin to imagine. And anything, it's bypassing the logic or the work element, that when you begin to see your capacity, it begins to spread over across this world, your earth and sign, right? And just because earth era is gone doesn't mean the element of earth is gone, people. That's where plasma begins to work, is it brings heaven on earth here. And you begin to feel these feelings because you're not having to run and go and schlep and go alone. You just sit with the moment of the earth itself, your lover, life itself, and you begin to feel, and you're like, oh, I can imagine. I can imagine if I could fill in the blank, whatever it is. I'm an early riser, so I might say wake up whenever I want, but that doesn't mean sleeping in. That might be, I don't have to set a timer or an alarm, that I can be organic and orgasmic every day. Be like, oh, I want to go do this. Oh, I want to go do that. And you're able to follow your spirit. That's the imagining that they're talking about, that connecting with yourself because you came into this world. Oh, that means you were still living off of energy from a previous life. They're wanting to bring in this synergy of heaven on earth, the waters and the waters, this newness here. Okay. A lot of you, it's some Neptunian energy. So you might check out where Neptune is in your chart and listen to that part of your reading if you're not hanging on to ride the whole joy train from stop to stop. Okay. So let's go from there into Aqua at 58:30. And let's see what we've got for Aqua going on here, y'all. And the reason I'm not shuffling back in, we are the whole zodiac, okay? And they were telling me that there's a bigger storyboard going on, and if people would begin to listen and understand that, we understand the movement and the rhythm and the dance of life. You can't learn a dance and learn one step. That's a step. It's not a dance. It's when we begin to learn the dance and we become familiar with it and we begin to feel who we are and feel into that and allow it to all be relevant, that we move about in the steps based on the song and how we're feeling. Do you realize the plants are singing songs and symphonies over us? That is what is going on. And we can hit a wall or hit a glitch or hit a gap and we're wondering and we're readjusting and they're like, the dance moves ain't changed, baby. So when we begin to get into the rhythm and let it get us, we begin to get life, okay? So that's where we're flowing forward in this channel, is being true to me and you. So that brings in the Six of Discs. I love this. More than just you working on your life. More than just life itself. It's coming into the heaven on earth. Aqua, thank you very much. Because to me, you have always been the air and the water, which is the state of plasma, the two working together. Because if the vocal cords were utterly dry and there were no moisture, they cannot vibrate and work properly, okay? So that's getting into the picture of knowing where you come from. This softness of life. And you're talking about the solidity. There isn't a word, okay? Goes beyond wishbone and backbone. Our meninges, the part that protects our brain, our spinal cord, and all that, that holds the moisture like a radiator in your car. If you've ever had a cracked radiator, you can't go too far without it smoking and overheating. Now, Aqua, if you've been alive for more than a minute, you have gone back and forth past Pluto so many times that your radiator might be cracked. Now, we're going to seal it up and heal it up right now and begin to merge that in. Some of you check out Libra, okay? Not just Libra here, but maybe one of the Libra readings and get into that balance. We're balancing your meninges right now is what I'm hearing, Aqua. So the meninges have 3 layers. Okay, the innermost layer is called the Pia Mater, or the soft mother. The outer layer is called the Dura Mater, or the hard mother, the tough mother. And in between is the arachnid, or the spider layer, right? It's webby. It's the communication, the communion between the two. It's the matrix where the moisture and all that is handled and channeled in and out and all about. If you act too tough and you force and make and have to this and you get all sharp and harsh, that's how life's going to come. And it's going to make you rigid, which creates resistance, restriction, and pain. And you won't even know it. You'll be so used to functioning it that you don't know anything other than that. And that's why things can be tough at coming you in a tough manner. But the thing is if you're truly in the air of plasma and you are you, life is here to facilitate you. What is that? You are you. Well, resist yourself. Okay? So then you're not falling away into the soft mother either of always caving and giving in, not this and not that or whatever. It's coming into the truth of who you are, allowing it to become whole. I love that you're taking big papas to the completeness and putting in that 3 dynamic. Coming in, you might refer back to the Sagittarius part of this reading. So just talking about the 1 going into the 2 and making it the 3. Mind, body, and soul. And for you, Aqua, you always like, yeah, tell me about my lover. So that's kind of where you're wanting to get into, because that's what relationships are. A person, which is 1, another person, which equals 2, and then the relationship, which is its own entity, which makes 3. Yellow and blue make green. And that way there is no losing of yourself. So you don't have to get hard or harsh or make your point get across to another person nor to yourself. You can just allow it to be, because speaking words of wisdom, let it be. You're yellow. They're blue, or whichever color you want to be. But you get what I'm saying, primary to secondary, whatever else. And then the combination of the 2. So you get such variety and symphony of life coming in that adds a richness and a nuance and a tone that is intriguing to you. Okay, so from Aqua, we're moving into Pisces at 102. 49. Glad to have you still here hanging in with me. Learn about your whole self, the whole complete self in the zodiac. So let's see what Pisces has going on. So you either ready to throw down, meaning you got to get to it. You ready to throw down because you're frustrated with it, or you hiding from it. Let's go see. All right. Pardon me while I put on my scuba gear and do a deep dive. All right, Pisces. Well, it's coming in upright. And this Hierophant is showing up as a justice, as an illumination, not as a division, but an electrical connection, a divine connection. What is it? The base here. Dunamis power, the keys of life, the power of heaven on earth. For many of you, Pisces, this is the power of forgiveness. I don't know why I'm trying to write that down like it's going to be the title of the thing. Power of forgiveness. And forgiveness, you're wanting to talk about this. It sets yourself free as well as the other people. And it's not like it lets them get off scot-free. No, actually, it lets the consequence of the action, there's an energetic consequence, y'all, okay? There's an energetic ripple. Instead of it pounding and hitting you and hitting your door where you pay and you pay and you pay because you don't have the name for that to pay it off and return it. Instead, when you release and you forgive, it goes and it finds them and it goes to them. And then they can begin to address the energy of that situation, whether it's specifically what occurred, whether it's the energies that they entertained to behave that way, whatever it is. Allowing justice to have its cause, to have its day. So there's a bit of going beyond the phoenix and standing in the truth of your power here. It's also awakening chariot energy for life to begin to move forward and give you sweet sleep and rest, okay? I know there were 2 cards. Oh, there you are. Ace of Swords. And that brings in your reward. The lightness, the delight of your Neptunian. That allows the clarity of your mind to come on in and you begin to become more psychic, more of a visionary, greater imagination, clarity, clears up your dreams, gives you a sense of knowing. And knowing that life loves you, that life will handle it, life will take care of it. Life doesn't want to occupy any more than the space in which it occurred. And no, life didn't necessarily send it to you. Sometimes our charts did and things like that. And that's why they have me teaching this way at this channel, so we can begin to own our whole chart, the eye of God, so that we're living in the truth of who we are and living in that enjoyment, satisfaction, fulfillment. Because when we're full of ourselves, other people's energies aren't being drawn in. We don't live in karma and lessons anymore. We live in completeness. And completeness has to do with compliments and complimentary and compliment yourself. It allows that dynamism, like we're talking about with the Sagittarius and Gemini, Sagittarius South Node, Gemini North Node, or Rahu Ketu, the dragon, the snake, the serpent, the balancing, the power, the equalizer, the equilibrator is what you're talking about. That reward comes in, it creates a beauty and enhancement all its own. It's like the filigree of life. It's the fanciness of life. Life fancies you. Do you fancy life? Do you begin to go, what do I want to do today? What would I like to wear? Imagine if you have that delightness in your heart because the forgiveness has already occurred. You're resting well, so you're in health and wealth. You're in wholeness and playfulness. Okay, friend, that brings in Princess of Swords and Princess of Cups, man or woman, whoever you are here, Pisces. That brings in this youthfulness, this freedom to move about, to change your mind, to go around. You're not having to stay in this, how do I have sand on my head? Okay, I've been to the beach, y'all, but that's funny. I don't, woo! All right, that helps you rise up. Some of you, it comes into greater awards and rewards because it's things you're willing to go after, new things, because your mind is connected to life and realizing that you're loved and favored, that you aren't down and out, that you aren't a victim and that's how it's going to be and that's how it always will be. No, there's this whole newness and you strapped up, strapped in, ready to go. And you're no longer having to turn back to the hard days and the hard ways. You got it flat and straight in front of you. Now that may sound boring, but no, we're not talking about that. There are many layers going on in this. There's kaleidoscope eyes, but there's nothing to trip or stumble over. All the stumbling blocks are removed from your path when you do this, okay? And the scroll of the power is in your hands. Some of you may need to physically write it down and give it out and burn it off, whatever it is, but release it out. And when you do trust that life is handling and taking care of that, and I'm telling y'all the justice that I've heard of others who have intentionally attacked me or hurt me or whatever else, is shocking. It is shocking. Just trust, okay? So 107.50. We're moving into who's after Pisces? Is that Aries? Okay, so let's move on into Aries. London Bridge is not falling down, Aries. Stand still for a moment. Is that you going back and forth so much? Look at this. 4 of Wands. Life is a celebration. Life is a party. That ought to sound good to you. Remember that. Okay, we're going to clear some COVID from your head. We're going to clear that from the world. We're going to let life begin to be a celebration. Allow yourself to be celebrated. There's a sweetness of love and a sweetness of life that is showing up in here, but is the potentiality, the seeds they're in. They need to be put in the ground. So instead of going all back and forth, go home, plant your seeds in your own garden, and watch and see how much life loves you. That doesn't mean don't go out, don't go do whatever, but it says for you to put the seeds in your soil, okay? To focus on yourself for just a minute and begin to enjoy the rewards thereof. The soil of that heart, I'm talking about your baby, your heaven, your mind, your heart, your soul. Let's clean and clear that out for Aries here. There's some mud. Somebody threw mud in your eye, Aries. Hang on. You dropped a book. You saying the book of love. Oh. Did you stop believing in love, Aries? It says the book was the book of love will open up and let us in. Take these broken wings and learn to fly again. So it can seem like there's a little bit of pain and suffering, and don't become identified with it, and don't hang around in it, and don't push it or provoke it. When it's there, notice it. Okay, tap in, drop down into it. And I don't mean get into it. I mean in the moment, ask yourself, what is this pain stemming from? And some of it is taking time to pay attention to yourself, to love yourself. There's a little bit of an annoyance with that. I love to go out and be in other people's business. They're saying be in your business. I feel you right there. It's this card, but we'll see what that is happening with. King of Wands. So a King of Wands is one who stands still. The king lets life come to him. His kingdom used to be like the town square. It's where the farmer's market and all those other things would happen. And it's about creating an interesting and intriguing life for yourself. It draws others to you. You are lovable. Okay? All right. So with that, Temperance and the Queen of Discs. All right, so that's not you anymore. We moved on from that, Aries. And let's step into Taurus, because this is definitely about you here. 11045. Okay, because it's Temperance and the Queen of Discs. When I saw that Queen of Discs, I'm like, They talk about the chandelier on your head. Life coming forth from death, Taurus. Beginnings coming forth from the endings. And even beyond that, your throne, your back, your spine, maybe your unconscious mind, maybe coming out of where other people words that were spoken over you have limited you, no matter how many times you've forgiven or overwritten or moved on. You've been relegated to a certain lot in life, and that has bothered you to no end. Beauty and some other things have come along, but you haven't been able to move at the pace that you want, which is interesting. I like that, Taurus. You're not being hemmed in by how other people say you're slow, you're methodical, you're hard to motivate. No. Taurus, you're like, I know how to move. I do. They talk about calves frolicking and skipping. You're like, that's what I want to get to, is that youthful vibrance, the awakening of my fire flower, the olive leaf, the olive branch, the olive you. I love you. I love you, Taurus. And others loving you as well. And that's shedding out and sending out that old, allowing what other people shaped and molded you into. And this is about others, man's mindset. And some of it was you submitting to it. So you were in a state of power differential, where either you were the student or the child or the subordinate at a job, whatever it was. It took your tree and it made it into a throne, and it made you have to sit there and be stuck in that identity. But I'm telling you, your mind, yourself, your soul is rising up above it. It's coming forward, and all you have to do is rise up now and stand. Stand. And you're like, how do I do that, Joy? So how do you stand in your goldness self, in the beauty of your garden and your cornucopia? Temperance is here to show us how. It says, stand with playfulness, stand with balance, because when a foot's on land and a foot's in the water, realizing that things don't always have to be level and perfect and even and fair in order for you to succeed and abound here. It has to do with the movement and the interchange and the interplay of life, the day and night, the going through the cycles and the seasons, allowing it to be a full scope, full spectrum, full day, coming into the high heart and trusting that life loves you in return, that life has your best interests here. And so you also communicate and connect with life. You communicate and connect with yourself. If you feel refreshed when you go outdoors, go outdoors. Go outdoors, because for you, that is a reflection and a refreshment point. And your body is processing. It's almost like charging your phone, or what is that? When you update the operating system, it's like, brrr, That's what's happening. Trust that something greater than what you see or perceive is what is going on here to your benefit, Taurus. So now let me see what else we got. Anything else? So we're going to wrap up this Joy of the World. We're going to do, ooh, with a treasure card. Listening, listening, listening. Greening up that the power of creativity is in your hand. We are the music makers. Some of you may want to watch Willy Wonka, right? And I hear a whole new world singing. I don't know why. Somebody. 31 and 46. Dry desert is coming apart. It's time to leave behind the old muse, the old thing that you were following that was stringing you along. Because that's what it's doing. What got you to where you're at. What got you to where you're at won't get you to where you're going. And they're talking about attitude. So attitude. Let's set our attitude here. We're going to do it with a pearl of wisdom. Let's set our attitude for this month of June. Oh, what's our affirmation? Hold on just a second, y'all. How about I freely allow my whole self to shine? I freely allow my whole self to shine. Okay, say it with me if you would like to. I freely allow my whole self to shine. I love it. So let's get us a pearl. And then we'd be rolling and going. I bless your month of June with fantasticness and beauty and completeness and wholeness of life. There you are. So, patience. Now, this patience comes in is it's all held. It's all created. It's all crafted. And it's not all on you. Your environment begins to shift and shape with you along, and you have help from heaven above and earth below. It's about a process and staying in the purity of it, staying in the trust, not getting bent out of shape or frustrated. Those are signs and symptoms that you're already out of your state. So just take a moment and breathe, which is an inhale and an exhale. Relax and locate yourself, okay? There we go. I vote for you. If you haven't voted already, tickle that like button as your vote for the channel, showing your love and support, and a vote for yourself that you believe in who you are. And if you're still around, you might consider subscribing. These messages are timeless, whether they are dated or not. And there's a whole tome of them to look at, like moving on upwards towards 500 videos. So check yourself. All right. I love you. Talk soon. Bye.